Welcome to the Solo Salon Owner Podcast. My name is Adrienne Schottler, and I am here to share with you my 20 years of beauty experience, both good and bad, so that you can grow and learn and advance your career in the industry. Grab yourself a snack, your favorite cocktail, and enjoy. Today we are speaking with Brett Fellows. Brett is a certified financial planner, a certified exit planner, and founder of Oak Capital Advisors, a fee-only financial planning firm based in Charleston, South Carolina. Retirement and exit planning are confusing, but they're Brett's specialty. Salon owners deserve to be heard, and Brett's goal is to help salon owners create the map and find the resources to achieve their financial aspirations, both in and out of the salon. Welcome, my friend Brett.
Sounds good.
So everybody today, welcome Brett Fellows from Oak Capital Advisors onto the Solo Salon Owner Podcast.
Hello, Adrienne. Thank you for having me today.
You are welcome. I wanted to bring you on because the salon industry and the beauty industry is very much cash driven, but we do not keep good records. And so my mission is to help people get systems to try to help them get things under control and know where they're at. So that's why I brought you on, because I found your podcast that is geared toward salons. Can you tell us a little bit about your podcast?
Sure. So we started a podcast at the beginning of this year, 2023, called Unchained from the Chair. We have, as a firm, we've always worked with small business owners, but that still is kind of vague in terms of we have heating and air clients, we have engineering clients. So I found even both externally and internally in our firm, we're having to know a lot of different things about these different small businesses. So in an effort to, frankly, streamline our own systems, one of the things we've done is, okay, moving forward, who is our ideal client and how do we find more of them? And through that process, our ideal client happens to be a salon owner. And in going through a lot of research, we frankly just found that the beauty industry as a whole has very few people talking about money and how to use money and the psychology of money and how to create systems about money. So when we put those two together, we thought, well, let's look into this, let's create this, and let's get in there. And that's when we started the Unchained from the Chair podcast. So every week we post an episode, frankly, about some of the money topics that we're hearing our clients talk about and or that are popular for small business owners, but just how they relate to salon owners, let's say, from whether they're individual solo salon owners to bigger salons, and we try to address all of those. And so it's been new to us, but it's been a great space. We love it. And we just are excited for the future about it. And it got me to meet you, of all things. So that's great.
Absolutely. I have binged the podcast when I've been driving my daughter back and forth to college. So there are some things that you touched on that I was like, yes, absolutely. Like the book Profit First.
Yes.
I've traveled through that book a couple times to really try to learn it and figure it out. But it's kind of a different way of thinking, and people are so worried about paying bills. And so in the salon business, I have worked for a number of salons that don't do things quite the right way or quite legally. And that seems to be a huge issue. So what is one thing that all salon owners can do right now to improve themselves financially if they feel they're struggling with keeping track of their money?
Yeah, there's no easy way around that. Like anything else, you have to know your numbers. So whether we like to, I don't want to use the word budget because nobody likes to budget.
Right, dirty word.
Even if it's just coming up with a system to reflect on, you need to know where your money goes. And this, again, can be personal or business. It's the same thing. you don't have to judge, you don't have to do anything like that, but just, you do have to know where your money goes. And budgeting just means awareness. And we all want awareness of what is happening. So I would suggest that at least every 30 days, just look back at where money went. And from there, you'll just have a clearer and clearer picture of what's happening, where it's going, and does that match up with your goals, if it's on the personal side or on the salon side, where you want to be going, or if it's serving you. And if it's not, well, then you have the hard decision to make a change. And we can talk about what to do next once you've made that change, of course.
Right.
But yeah, first and foremost, I mean, there's nobody likes to budget. I don't like to budget. We don't talk about budgets, even as a firm, but we talk about awareness. You have to know your numbers.
All right. Yeah, I like the word awareness better than budget.
Yeah,
For
same.
sure.
Believe me, I've been down
For
that road
sure.
a million times.
Yeah, I mean, budget, I think sometimes budget makes you feel bad about where you're spending your money. So
Yeah.
being aware and where you can cut back is definitely, I guess, a key. For someone, I know you deal with salons of all sizes.
Mm,
I try to focus on more of the individual or small, where they're independent booth renters or salon suite owners, or somebody who just has maybe a partner or an employee or two to help
sure.
them out.
Sure.
For those solo salon owners that are struggling because they're doing everything, they're doing the human resources, they're doing the services, they're doing it all. What would be a priority for them? Would it be investing in their future or tackling debt? Or would you kind of try to divide your focus on those two issues? Like what do you think is more important?
Okay, so that's a loaded question. It's a good question, loaded question. Let me, I think I can answer that 3 ways. So
Okay.
that's assuming that they have debt.
Mm-hmm.
Then the answer to that portion of the question is in theory, you do need to pay down the debt first, because it's holding you back. So the whole goal is
Right.
to free you up. So if you have debt, now you still should be, I was going to say both to your question, to those 2 parts, you still should be saving something. We always use like a 50-30-20 mindset for budget and for debt. 50%, this is how we would allocate your net take-home pay. So 50% goes to the things you need, like your mortgage, your rent, your insurances. 30% goes to your wants, so a new iPhone, going out to eat, whatever they may be. And then the 20% is your savings, retirement, or paying down debt. So let's say you do that math, and this is, you just take your net paycheck and you divide it up in those percentages. Let's say you do that math and you got, all right, I know what my 20% is. I might take 5% of that 20% and put that into the savings account, and even if that's $10 a month, I don't care.
Right.
I just want you to put something away constantly. And the whole reason for that is life is not linear. Things are going to happen. Things are going to change. Things are going to come up. We're going to get in a car accident. We're going to get a flat tire. Just things are going to happen. So
Correct.
If we don't at least start, we're just going to repeat the cycle all over again. So that said, you still want to take the bulk of that 20% of your monthly income, let's say, and put that towards paying down your debt. So again, whether that is personal debt, credit card debt, considered bad debt. Good debt might be your mortgage or something along those lines. But bad debt, you want to first pay off your outstanding balance. So you want to put all of that money towards that. If you can't do that in one fell swoop, well, then try doubling up your monthly payments. Do that for a couple of months. If that works, try tripling up your monthly payments. So just little steps. The key is just to take action steps, each and every month to get that debt down. You could consolidate your debt. Maybe you've got different credit cards with different rates. You can put that all to one, and that might give you a window to pay down a lot of principal with no interest. And then, or last but not least, you can ask your lender for a lower rate. You don't necessarily have to leave to get a lower rate. It's just asking the question. So first off, like you said, you have to know your numbers. Once we
Right.
know what our numbers are, we have to take 20% of what we make and apply that to our debt. Save a little bit, but apply that to our debt first and foremost. And that's the only way we can get out of debt.
Sorry.
You mentioned the profit first. Unfortunately, and they talk about this there. Unfortunately, we all do bank balance accounting, meaning we get money in, we pay our bills, and then if there's any money left over or we get more money, we may pay something extra. But guess what? More often than not, there's not something extra. There's always some, we can always find a way to spend our cash. So that we're just taught about the system, how to use money incorrectly. So it's nobody's fault. It's just the way we're taught. So we really have to change the mindset and create a system, kind of that 50, 30, 20, and then address it for the debt.
Yeah. I think, a lot of people don't want to talk about money, and they're afraid of their, making decisions. So they're either spending it all or hoarding it all. There's no kind of in between balance. And so having that 50, 30, 20 as a guide to help develop some new habits is probably one of the things. It's difficult, but it's one of the things that'll make a big difference. I mean, you can go off the rails for a month, but if you can go back to the system and get back on track, just like anything, like your health, your diet, your money. Yeah.
Once you're done, then back to, I think the third part to your question is, okay, let's say that salon owner is now, the debt is taken care of, but like you said, they're a technician, they're managing people, they're doing all these things. The best thing I've ever seen, and I personally, is again, mindset, but you have to establish, okay, what is my hourly rate?
Right.
And whatever your hourly rate is, anything below that hourly rate, frankly, you should delegate. And again, with the mindset of freeing you up for time, that will free you up. And it may at first feel like an expense, more money out the door, but you have to look at it more as an investment in you. And then that you freeing up your time may create more, or will create you to be a better leader, will create you time to be a better, rainmaker for your business, whatever it might be. So you'll make more money. You shouldn't be doing $20-hour work while you're making $80 an hour.
Right. I understand that.
So that's
why.
I think that delegation is huge.
Yeah. And I think people think they can't afford it, whether it's an assistant or hiring somebody to come in and clean, like those things. And I tell my kids that's what they're for. I mean, they get their summer job from me every summer, and we deep clean that salon and rearrange stuff. And that's what we do, and knock it out. So, I a lot of people don't know their dollar requirement. They don't know their survival number for their salon as far as clients. And then they don't charge what they're worth, which is a whole other issue.
Whole other issue. Right.
Yeah, they put themselves in their clients' budgets and they feel bad about asking them for more. And so that's also, I think in this business, we're empathetic to a degree. And so that kind of holds us back. We feel like we can't ask for the help. We can't ask for the money kind of thing.
Again, our psychology with money. It's a fascinating thing.
It is. So I have one big final question for you. When I was going through your podcast, one of the things that I never thought about in my business was my exit strategy. And last year I sustained an injury that is plaguing me. So I've had to cut some services and things like that. So I'm like, well, how much longer am I going to be able to do this in the capacity that I'm accustomed to? And so I've listened probably to that episode a couple of times. And so my question is, for those of us with solo salon suites where we are the business, that one person business, is it possible to sell something like that in the future, or is it better to liquidate a business like that? Like, how would you, what's an exit strategy that we should think about? Like,
Yeah.
because I have
So
no clue.
yeah. So these are, and that's why we started working with small business owners, but more importantly, now trying to just solely focus on salon owners. Is that is what we do. That's what we love. Is, all right, I have 20, 30, 50 years until I want to exit from my salon. What do I need to do at that point of exit? And that exit can be anything. It can be retirement, go do something else, go travel the world, doesn't really matter. But at that point, you're going to want money. So what's the best way for you to have money at that point from a tax standpoint, from a retirement standpoint? And then after that happens, how do you distribute the money? So that's really what we do from an advisory standpoint. To your question, so, our business is only worth, what somebody is willing to pay for it. So, and if you've heard the analogy too, is if you can't leave what you do for 3 to 5 days and it not make money, well, then we don't really have a business, we have a job.
Right.
Which is fine. And that's okay. I mean, in my industry too, there's a lot of independent advisors. So on that mindset, I would say the beautiful thing about being an independent salon owner is you are in business for yourself. There are huge advantages from a tax standpoint, from a retirement standpoint, where you could put away a lot of money, much greater than someone else who has a W-2 paying job. So in that instance, I would say probably not to sell, but how do we maximize your income and maximize you putting away as much as possible? So when that time comes, you have the funds. Does that make sense?
Like, yes, it does. Because like right now, I'm established in the business. I have all of my supplies and equipment. I only have to buy those things when they run out or break.
Right.
So all of that, initial output that I've done years ago is still working for me. So I don't have that expense where some of these newer girls are dishing out $5,000 to $10,000 to establish their business.
Yeah.
So I see that as an advantage because it does give me more cash flow.
Right.
But yeah, I've worked for so many different salons, from $1 million spa to now, I had employees pre-COVID and now I don't. I'm in a suite. So it's been just a huge change, but my personal numbers haven't changed. What I'm bringing in and what I'm taking hasn't changed.
Right.
So
right.
It's just trying to figure out, okay, do I wait until I'm ready to start the exit process when you're a solo salon owner and then start like liquidating things out, selling things out kind of a situation?
I would say, just like you mentioned about health or anything else in life, it's never too early. The earlier you get started, the easier it is later. So by any means, absolutely, you should work today towards that goal, whatever that might be in terms of time and money. And then Adrian, are you a sole proprietor? Are you an S corporation or just an LLC?
So I'm still an S corporation. Okay. I was when I had employees. And so I've maintained that so that I could bring assistants and that kind of thing in when I need them.
And so you pay yourself a salary and you take perhaps a draw. So I'll leave the numbers of the salon out of it, because how you grow your salon and what you spend money on in your salon, that's not me. I don't know what to say about that.
Right.
But let's say you have extra money in a salon, or you're able to do that. The beautiful thing is you could save up to $60,000 as an S corp, tax deductibly. because you are an S Corp owner. Now, again, we have to have that extra
I have to have the
$60,000.
60,000.
But whereas someone your exact same age working at XYZ company can only save, let's say, $22,000 in any given year. So and that's the advantage of being an owner. You get to eat what you kill, but you have that huge advantage to save a lot more than the average person. So if you could do that for 20 or 30 years and you get to that exit point, that's the way you have, quote unquote, funded your exit plan.
Your retirement. Got it.
Because to exit, there's really only two things somebody can buy. They can buy your assets.
Right.
And like you're saying, I don't really have assets. If I do, it's not going to be that much, but of course you can sell that and sell that over time. Or they can buy your stock, even if we don't, stock is an arbitrary thing, but now stock can mean your book of business. Stock can mean, what is that value worth? And is it each industry is different. It could be a multiple of revenue, or it could be a multiple of cash. But then you got to put yourself in the buyer's shoes is, okay, well, if Adrienne leaves, what's the probability that her clients are going to stay?
Right.
So to combat that, a lot of buyers will do, okay, Adrienne, I will give you 50% today once we've agreed upon a price, and I'll give you the next 50% over the next 3 to 5 years, but you have to stay. And the numbers have to play themselves out. So you still have skin in the game. And that's frankly, the way it works for businesses to sell, where most of the income is dependent upon the one owner.
Okay. All right. That's good to know.
So there are definitely ways where you could probably maybe, let's say, partner with another salon that's doing the same thing as you, and they may agree, they're looking to grow. They may pay you extra. Yeah. But you just have to realize you're going to have to give up that ownership and continue to work. So it really depends on what you're looking for.
Gotcha. And that's where you come in with your advisor.
Yeah.
Title.
Because from the geek side, from behind me, I could do the math, knowing your tax returns and all that, and say, well, Adrienne, if you can save 20,000, 30,000, 60,000, whatever it is a year, here's what you look like at that end game. Do you want to give up all that freedom to maybe get this amount over here? Let's say if you partner with somebody else, or, if we possibly have, again, it's someone offering to buy us, but again, it's only it was worth is what they're willing to pay.
Right. And that's something that, gives everybody a lot to think about, because I think we all get into it for different reasons, and we have our own personal situations of why we're in this business, the flexibility, raising families, being available with the schedules, because you can have a very successful part-time business in this industry as well as a full-time business.
Sure.
But it's the, how do you get out? How do you, because you can't foresee injuries, you cannot foresee recessions, and everybody has their own priorities. So
and the last thing I could say is about, back to your, is it can you ever start too early, or is it too late? It's never too late. The issue is longevity.
Right.
We are living longer and longer as human beings. That's a fact.
Right.
The average age of a woman now is what, I think 86.
Yes.
So if you can imagine what medicine's going to be like in 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, what's that quality of life going to be? Now, guess what? The government's not going to pay for our retirement. Social Security was never meant to be more than 30% of our highest earnings. So it's up to us to fund that difference. And I use this number, frankly, to scare people, but to scare them to take action. If you want to live a $50,000 lifestyle today, we need $1 million set aside. So it's easy. If you need 100,000, you need 2 million.
I
So
listened to that podcast where you kind of broke it up by age and how much, and I was like, I'm gonna cry. I need to go home and look at our accounts.
well, I didn't mean to make you cry, but my job is also to tell you the truth.
Yes, and I appreciate that. We need people like you to tell us the truth.
I
It's
know
hard. It's a hard pill to swallow,
it
but
is.
that's what we hire people like you for,
Right,
and that's what solo salon owners hire me for, is for the help and the guidance. So,
right, right.
well, I appreciate you taking time out of your day today and
Thank
spending some
you.
time answering questions.
Thank
I
you.
do
Appreciate you.
encourage everyone to go listen to your podcast and find you.
Thank you.
So yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up
Okay,
and
Adrian.
have a great week, and I will chat with you soon.
Take care.
Thank you. You too. Thank you for spending time with me today at the Solo Salon Owner Podcast. This content is for continuing education purposes, and I do recommend any financial decisions or legal decisions should be consulted with the proper professionals. If you'd like to leave me a voicemail, you can at the link below, or you can contact me and get a free consultation at solosalownowner.com or follow me on Instagram at solosalownowner. Please rate and leave a 5-star review on Spotify or Google Podcasts. I look forward to talking with you soon.